I'm going to share 3 things that this mother-in-law does to this daughter-in-law, and I want you to tell me which out of the 3 you would find most just crazy. For me, it's the first one. My husband says it would, like, the second one would drive him absolutely bonkers, and the third one is actually pretty wild too. So you're going to understand why this listener has emailed our community for help. She has gone to her husband, but he's not much of a support. I'll explain that in a second. But what she is worried about is that her mother-in-law is doing this to her. Now, I didn't understand what that meant. I've never heard of it before. And what that is an adult that is treating another adult like they're much younger than they are, often controlling their choices or meeting their basic needs, even though they're fully capable of doing it themselves. Here's the first example, and the one that I would be like, whew. The mother-in-law will offer her a blanket, and she'll be like, "Oh, you look cold. Do you need a blanket?" And when she's like, "No, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need a blanket," she'll go and she'll grab her daughter-in-law a blanket, and she doesn't just give her daughter-in-law the blanket. Like, that would just be nice. You know, it's a little bit pushy, but not crazy. She actually tucks the daughter-in-law in. So I just want you to get a visual here and imagine. So I'm like 44 almost, I think, yeah. So she tucks her daughter-in-law in. So after she's fully like tucked in, then she'll caress her cheek and she'll be like, "There, like, that's much better." And, you know, at first for like a lot of years, she was like, "Okay, so this is kind of nice." But now this daughter-in-law, she is a mom now. And she's like, "God, I don't know if I really like being treated as if I'm 7. Like, this is bothering me." So that's the first example. The second example she gave us is my mother-in-law watches me like a hawk. When we're eating dinner, she tells me what to eat, how to cut my food, if I should have seconds, and which food should have gravy on it. Now that's what would drive my husband crazy. He's like, "That is crazy." The third example she said was one time she arranged a dog sitter for me. I never said I needed a dog sitter. We didn't talk about it. All of a sudden, someone just shows up at my house ready to take my dog for 3 days. She was very confused. And the mother-in-law said, "Well, I just thought you needed a break." Again, it seems very kind, but when you put all these things together, it's like, whoo, holy buckets, right? So back to the husband. We emailed her back and we're like, "How does the husband feel about this behavior?" She said that her husband's like, "Yeah, it's weird, but I think she's just trying to show you that she cares. I mean, besides that, look at how my mom treats grandma over there." Apparently, this mother-in-law treats her mom like in the same micromanaging, controlling ways. Like, she tells her when to speak, what to eat, like when to eat. Like, it's a lot. So he's like, "Well, at least she doesn't do that." And so with that, I say, like, maybe you guys should be making sure grandma's okay, because it does seem a little, like, if it is a little too controlling, make sure grandma's okay. Okay, a couple things. It could be this, or it could be she's just trying to like maintain her family, her role in the family. Maybe she's always been a caretaker and she doesn't know what else to be, and everyone's getting older, self-sufficient, no one needs her. So she's just like trying to grasp straws, and she takes care of the one person who, you know, will allow it. Like, maybe that's you. I mean, maybe, but either way, you get to have boundaries. So if this were happening to me and I was not comfortable with my mother-in-law tucking me in, which I don't believe I would be. So if she says, "Hey, do you need a blanket?" And, you know, you look cold, and I'm like, no, I don't need a blanket. And she proceeds to like come to tuck me in, and I know what's coming. I would intercept. I would intercept the blanket, and I would just be like, "Oh, thank you so much, Diane. I'm actually going to set it right here. I'm kind of toasty, so I don't want it on my body right now. So I'm just going to set it right here, but thank you so much. That was really kind of you." So that would be me minding my boundary. I don't want her to tuck me in. Now, the caressing. So if you're not comfortable with someone touching your body, you do get to set a boundary there. So you can kindly say, like, "Diane, I know that you're always like trying to show love and you're very nurturing in that way. I am actually not comfortable when you touch my cheek this way, but I really enjoy like when we hug, you know, hello and goodbye. So I just want to let you know that I'm not a fan of that." So then when she goes to do that, again, you can intercept and you can remind her, like, "Oh, just remember, like, I don't really like that. I just really prefer our hugs, like hello and goodbye." For the food, this one doesn't bother me so much. I mean, yes, it's crazy behavior. I understand how this looks. Personally, this doesn't bother me as much as the blanket. or tucking me in is just because it's in my space, just because I would just acknowledge, like, oh, okay, yeah, you'd rather me have the steak before the mashed potatoes. Okay. I would acknowledge that she's telling me something, and then I would just let her know, like, I'm going to proceed to do it my way. So I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can understand that you want me to have hot steak. I actually prefer hot potatoes before my meat. So I'm going to keep doing it this way, but thanks for the suggestion. That would be me still having autonomy and doing what I want to do with my food. The other thing, the dog. If you are not wanting a dog sitter or not wanting to send your dog with whoever, like hopefully you even knew this person, but if you don't want to send your pooch away for 3 days, you could have just simply said like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. I actually wasn't aware of this. I'm not going to send my dog with you. You could totally do that. And then in the future, hopefully your mother-in-law would realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't do like certain things like that because she's not going to allow it. Those are just my thoughts in terms of how I would like maintain like my own sense of autonomy and not allow someone to either do this or just control me a little too much, especially because you are a new mom now and you want to make sure that you're treated like an adult, especially as your child is aging. If this becomes like too much, like maybe starts with your child or she starts to parent you and your child, like she's a mom to both of you, your husband is going to have to step in. Even though it looks innocent enough and that she's just trying to nurture you and she's not as bad to you as she is like micromanaging you as she is to her own mother, you're still not comfortable with it. So eventually your husband might have to step in and just be like, here, mom, this is what's up. Just keep that in mind. These are my thoughts. But again, what do you find out of the 3 examples would be most uncomfortable, or what is the most bizarre behavior that you believe out of the 3 examples? Also, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever experienced this? And do you think that's what's going on here? I have no clue.